Impossible is a word to be found only in the dictionary of fools. So said Napoleon Bonaparte, a man whose ambition reshaped the very contours of the world. Born in 1769 on the rugged island of Corsica, Napoleon's journey is a saga of audacious resolve and meteoric ascent. Amidst the tumult of the French Revolution, his brilliance in military strategy propelled him from obscurity to a general revered and feared. From the humble beginnings on a Mediterranean island, a titan rises. Let us trace the path of this colossal figure. As the guillotine claimed its victims, a young Corsican artillery officer plotted a different course. Napoleon Bonaparte, barely in his 20s, was about to change the course of French history. Amid the chaos of the revolution, his genius for artillery and strategic acumen shone brightly at the siege of Toulon. Here, the young officer made his mark by recapturing the city from the British, a feat that earned him a promotion to brigadier general at the remarkably young age of 24. But it was not just his battlefield prowess that distinguished him. As royalist forces threatened the fragile new republic, Napoleon's decisive action during the October days of 1795 saved the revolutionary government. Commanding a ragtag force, he strategically used cannons to quell the royalist uprising in a whirlwind of fire and iron, famously declaring a whiff of grape shot. With the smoke of cannon fire as his backdrop, Napoleon not only survived the revolution, he thrived in it. Victory belongs to the most persevering. Napoleon's perseverance was about to be tested on the Italian front. In 1796, a young General Bonaparte was given command of the French army in Italy. At the time, this army was underfed, underpaid and demoralized. Yet, what it lacked in supplies, Napoleon made up for with sheer strategic brilliance. The Italian campaign was nothing short of a proving ground for Napoleon. Here, his tactical genius shone brightly as he maneuvered his forces with precision and audacity. He won crucial battles at Montenotte, Lodi, and most famously at Arcole. These victories were not just military triumphs, but were also psychological blows to his enemies, undermining the resolve of the formidable Austrian forces. Through a series of lightning-fast assaults and cunning diplomacy, Napoleon forced Austria and its allies to sue for peace. The Treaty of Campo Formio was signed, redistributing territories and greatly expanding French influence in Europe. In the art of war, Napoleon had painted his masterpiece, but his canvas was about to get much larger. "Power is my mistress. I have worked too hard at her conquest to allow anyone to take her away from me." With these words, Napoleon Bonaparte encapsulated his relentless pursuit of authority. His political ascent began as the fires of the French Revolution were starting to simmer and a new order was desperately needed. In the pivotal moment of the coup of 18 Brumaire, Napoleon, with a mix of charismatic leadership and strategic brilliance, toppled the existing directory. It was a masterstroke that shifted the tides of French politics and paved his path to absolute power. By the year 1804, he was declared the Emperor of the French, marking a dramatic shift from the republican ideals that had ignited the revolution. During his reign, Napoleon introduced a series of reforms. He streamlined the legal system with the Napoleonic Code, overhauled the educational system, and restructured the financial system, modernizing a nation that was still reeling from the chaos of revolution. The crown of France, once the symbol of royal absolutism, now rested on the head of a Corsican artilleryman. A soldier will fight long and hard for a bit of coloured ribbon. Yet at Waterloo, even the ribbons could not secure victory. As the sun began its descent on the horizon, so too did the grand ambitions of Napoleon Bonaparte start to dim. The seeds of Napoleon's downfall were sown during the harrowing Russian campaign of 1812. The once invincible Grande Armée, which had marched into Russia with over 400,000 men, was decimated by the brutal winter and relentless Russian tactics. This catastrophic loss weakened Napoleon's grip on power, leaving his empire vulnerable. Recovering but shaken, Napoleon faced a coalition of European powers determined to curtail his influence. The stage was set for a confrontation that would culminate at the Battle of Waterloo in 1815. Under the grey, brooding skies of Belgium, Napoleon's fate was sealed. Despite his tactical genius, the combined forces of the British, led by the Duke of Wellington, and the Prussians, under Gebhard Leberecht von Blücher, proved overwhelming. The battle was fierce, marked by the thunder of cannons and the desperate charges of cavalry. But as the day wore on, the relentless pressure from the coalition forces began to tell. Finally, in the late afternoon, with his forces outflanked and the Old Guard retreating, Napoleon realized the battle, and perhaps his empire was lost. He made a hasty retreat back to Paris, and within days he was forced to abdicate and later exiled to the remote island of St. Helena. On a damp June day in 1815, the sun set on the Napoleonic Empire, but the story was far from over. History is the version of past events that people have decided to agree upon, yet the legacy of Napoleon is not up for debate. Napoleon Bonaparte, a figure who carved his name into the granite of history with the force of his ambition and the breadth of his achievements. His legacy, far-reaching and multifaceted, continues to influence the world in profound ways. One of the most enduring contributions of Napoleon was the Napoleonic Code. This comprehensive set of laws restructured the French legal system, emphasizing clearly written and accessible law, a notion that was revolutionary at the time. This code abolished feudal privileges and promoted principles such as freedom of religion, the separation of church and state, and the rights to property. It became a model for legal systems in many other nations and is still a foundation for law in several countries around the world today. Beyond the realms of law, Napoleon's administrative reforms also left a lasting mark. His reorganization of the educational system with the establishment of lycées provided the framework for public education that is still in use in France and other parts of the world. His emphasis on meritocracy in the military and government repositioned the societal landscape, reducing the power of birthright and elevating the role of individual talent and achievement. Napoleon also redrew the map of Europe. His campaigns spread ideas of the French Revolution across the continent, influencing the rise of nation-states and inadvertently setting the stage for modern Europe. The reshaping of European boundaries during his reign had a domino effect, influencing global affairs for centuries. Today, Napoleon is remembered in myriad ways. In France, he's both celebrated as a national hero and critiqued as a tyrant. His monumental achievements and the controversies of his rule are subjects of endless fascination and debate across the globe. Museums, statues, and scholarly discussions continue to analyse and celebrate his complex legacy. Napoleon Bonaparte, a name etched in eternity, an emperor, a visionary, and a legend whose echo resounds through the corridors of history.